feature of your airport gives passengers a sense of place?
It's such a multi-dimensional question because we believe that each individual will have a different view of what that means for them. But I'll mention a few things that I think are just unique to Hartsfield Jackson. We have how efficient we are in leaving your gate to get to your flight and get up in the air in an average of about 2 minutes. But from a space perspective, as you go into our airport, you'll find that as you are able to walk from one concourse to another underground, I don't know if you've been there, I would say from our baggage claim area all the way to our international concourse and concourse F, you're able to find underground different spaces that actually can make you feel relaxed, such as our Zimbabwe art. We have actually a digital forest that enables you to have a space that is, yes, low vision, but you can relax there and rewind. And with all the lights in our airport, it's just an area that I think that is also great for individuals with disabilities. And then learning about Atlanta. There is a display of the history of Atlanta on the ground that shows where the city has been from the times of the arrivals to the Americas of the first pilgrims, and through the civil rights era up to building the most efficient airport and the most busiest airport in the world. So those are some of the things that I would mention, just ease of access to the airport. And again, it's really multidimensional, but if individuals were thinking about trying to find a sense of space, I think that they can find it there.
Wow, okay, that's incredible. And I guess following on from that, how does the airport provide or pivot to, we spoke about it briefly about accessibility, but to accommodate to all types of passengers, whether this be through technology or new initiatives and so forth?
Well, it starts with having actually a very good, you can say, community or public participation plan. I think it's important for any airport or any company that tries to take care of different personas, different groups of people that they serve, that they actually reach out to the community and understand what their needs are. Not every airport, not every business has the same type of clientele, but I think that we do a good job of our external outreach to individuals externally. And then there's also internal outreach to our partners, and trying to make sure that our strategy for satisfying whatever that persona is actually filtered down or across or up to those that need to know that we're serving those communities, and we're trying our very best to ensure that we serve them. So whether it's through some form of technology that's needed, or through innovations, for instance, we are trialing autonomous wheelchairs. Now that's a thing that satisfies, yes, the need for individuals to have efficient access to wheelchair where they're autonomous, but it actually helps our partners too, right? And that was driven by a need from the community saying, hey, we're having a hard time getting wheelchair assistance in today's world. And so it's important that I want to stress again that we may think that we have ideas as to how to serve you, but we really have to do the extra step, I think, of going out and asking you what you want. And then it may not be something that, let's say, that it's required by law. It's not always required by law. But is that the right thing to do? Do we think that this is a community that, yes, from a business perspective, it may not have to be monetary, but we may have residual, a revenue from that. Because I don't want to forget about that too, because that's what the pushback is for most people. Well, how many people are we serving with that? But we do have residual revenue. We do know that individuals with disabilities spend money in airports. So I think it's want to stress again that it's so important for you to ask the right questions and then make strategic decisions based on what you're collecting.
Absolutely, and it sounds like a lot of exciting developments, especially with the autonomous wheelchairs. Really, really exciting. So I guess my next question is, what is the most exciting future development that you think will change how travellers view, the airport itself and the surrounding community and area?
Well, there's a big renaissance right now around infrastructure happening at the airport at Hartsfield Jackson. Also, I mean, in the United States, the government has taken a stance on giving money for infrastructure development. One of the things that we have coming up in the next few months, actually beginning, that I'm going through, actually helping with giving my input on the design around customer experience as well as accessibility, is the widening of Concourse D. We will be adding 25 feet each way to Concourse, so it's one of the concourses that we would probably say is the bane of our existence because of how narrow it is. But widening it and of course changing some of the features around bathrooms and the accessible spaces, family rooms, that kind of stuff, gives us an opportunity to meet the needs of our clients. Another one coming on stream here in the next couple of months is how efficient our airport is efficient already, but our trains, our APM, our people movers, the one what we call the plane train, we have actually extended that line so we have a quicker turnaround time and we'll have more efficiencies and can operate the train system in a 24-hour manner. So those are two very heavy investments that we've made, and one's upcoming, one is ongoing right now for the passenger experience. And I think that those will actually make us even better.
Absolutely. And so let's stay with in the realm of the future, the post-recovery and trying to get past that phrase, because I think we're all quite bored of the pandemic at this point. Yeah. So when I say the phrase, the future airport experience, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, as someone who's a director of CX, we always are thinking about breaking down barriers, right? Barriers to any journey. Lessen decision points. So you want to the less less decision points that someone has, the better their experience. That is why I always say, don't give someone more than two if you're giving someone directions, do not give them more than two pieces of information, because they're going to get lost. They're stressed. They might be traveling for the first time, and that experience might just be one that is really not good for them. So breaking down those barriers, what does that mean? It means that we have the speed of getting to a parking space, or actually backing back up and giving them as much information as possible from home on the journey to the airport, getting into the airport quickly, going past security in a more efficient and if we can lessen the number of things that are not restricted anymore. So just cutting that kind of time in probably half, so we don't have those long lines anymore. But that's what I think of. I think of making the journey as seamless as possible. It's not going to be completely seamless, because of course we still have bad actors out there, but that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Absolutely. That the idea of the passenger journey actually beginning from home, and the minute they step out their door to the minute they get off the plane and they're on holiday or wherever they are. So
yeah, I want to expand on that for you a bit. I come from the hotels and resorts industry, managing real estate, and one of the things that I didn't realize how important it is, especially when you have destinations such that you have to travel long distances to. So if you are, giving an example, if you're in the UK and you decide to go to a sandals resort down in Antigua or Jamaica or anywhere, they already know where you're coming from, because yes, you're coming on a particular airline, And landing in that country, there's always a warm feeling that you get because people really have truly empathy of the journey that you took to get there. So the front desk is going to have a smile on their face. Everyone that you touch on that journey from the airport to your resort, and they want to ensure that when you put your head on a pillow, that you have no worries whatsoever. So you're going into a clean room, that you have all the needs that you have. And that's why it's so important for us in airports to really consider how did they get to the airport before they got here. Can we understand how frustrating it can be to leave home with 3 kids on a plane without anyone to help them? And I think we really need to have more empathy and understand that part of the journey. That's why we say from home. And we have some things that we're trying to do at Hartsfield Jackson, kind of a journey mapping on our website to give more information and plot that journey for you based on your needs. That should be coming on stream probably next year.
Sounds very exciting, and I guess maybe following on from the idea of human interaction and bringing in the in-person factor again. So it's a crucial part of passenger or customer experience. So what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, it's very important. I personally, through the CX program that I run at Hartsfield Jackson, we have not necessarily a policy, but we can call it a policy where whenever we are doing anything that we know will impact passengers, we look at the tools that are available to them, right? So it could be when you diverge the personas and you think of someone who travels frequently, business traveler, he travels frequently, maybe 20 times a year, right? They're going to be familiar with your airport if that's their home. They're going to complain also if you change their journey because they have familiarity with, leaving home, parking in the same spot, using probably the same airline, using the same checkpoint, right? So if you decide at any point to close any one of those areas, if they're not paying attention to signage, the app that they're given, because we're providing them with all the information, you need a human being there to explain what's happening and giving that human interaction, because we find that technology and signs may not be as effective, right? Now, you could be someone who is attuned to reading signs, but there's a major part or a major change in your journey. You put a human there, right? And so when we do a journey map, we assign humans, signage, we do marketing to it. We can do digital signs, we can do just static signs. Also, we put a human there, but it's only on major changes. So anything outside of your line of sight is our policy. We say, okay, now we need to put a human here to explain where to go, because we do know that when you are lost, you turn for others for guidance, because it's natural. You would always turn to someone that you trust. And someone with a badge or in a uniform and as an airport is known as a trusting person. And so that's why it's very important, so that folks don't feel alone, right? And then from a disability perspective too. I could be dyslexic. I could be someone who can't read English or any of the languages that you have your signs in. And so that's why it's important for you to whether remotely or in person, to have a person there. Absolutely.
And what would you tell smaller airports to capitalize on the most?
This is a really good one, because I get that question a lot, because I am at the world's busiest airport, and we do $1 billion in revenue in retail, food and beverage. I think the good thing for airports that are smaller is that they may not face the same challenges that we have as busy airports. Why? Because we have longer times. We have more barriers, I think, than they do. If you're a smaller airport, getting through security probably is quicker than at my airport. And so when I think of smaller airports, and I think from a revenue perspective, I think of dwell time, right? I think for smaller airports, if I was to run a smaller airport, I would focus on something that would create an even greater sense of place for everyone, that you would want to come to the airport sooner. Because we know that incrementally, as you increase dwell time airside and you have retail food and beverage there, that folks are more likely to spend money. And so that would be a worry for me for smaller airports. It's this, how do we try to create spaces or a sense of place, things that are attractions or are very attractive, that folks will be like, you know what, I'm going to go there earlier than spending 20 minutes of dwell time airside because I can get through and get on the plane and leave. That does not help smaller airports at all if the dwell time is short, because increasing dwell times generates revenue and you're there to make a profit anyway, right? And so let us not forget that. I don't want to focus so much on not driving revenue, right? So that's what CX is about too. It's not only about, a smiley face here or there. It's that your staff and everyone should be a subject matter expert to help drive revenue, giving information on, hey, I see that you have an hour layover. You're going to gate C6. If you want something to eat, there's some really good restaurants in that area. Boom. I just planted a seed in your head. I see that, is this your home country? And not home country, is this your home airport? You're going back. Did you take anything back with you? Trinkets, of your memories here. That's the kind of staff that we're looking for. We should be talking about, for the future, talking about how airport staff, especially those in that more interactive position, customer facing, should be ones who are helping to drive revenue. It might be difficult to do that, but I think that's how our training should evolve, to be honest. Let them really be those salespeople. Not necessarily say buy this, but make a suggestive selling. We have some great restaurants at our airport, that are nearly 5 stars. A lot of people may not know that, but I see the lines waiting to get into that restaurant on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
I can't name it because it would be a bias. Okay. You can't put one particular restaurant out there over others, but you can go to Google and look and see which one is the highest rating.
So it kind of brings me on to my last question. But when you have just touched upon it, so with staffing and the workforce, can we expand on that a bit more? So how crucial are they to the passenger experience, surpassing non-aeronautical revenue and so forth? So
earlier you mentioned that we are all over COVID, but I have a policy. I have a philosophy in life that for every negative there's a positive, and I think for a long time, I've been preaching how important it is, especially in these companies or these airports that are more government run, how important it is that we have a view of airport workers as being on the same team, even though they work for different companies. And I brought examples of that to my airport. This Park Inn here that's over my shoulder is a part of a Radisson brand. It could very well be a franchise. But I know that the franchise brand says that you should be treated the same whether you're in Krakow, Poland, or Kiev, Ukraine, or in America and you go to a Park Inn, right? So we should be able to do that within our airports. And COVID has shown us how important it is for every employee. I mean, airports around the world can't find workers right now because they have now become attuned to what it means to have a different view of the world, spending time with family, getting a job in the gig economy, using the money that they've earned during this time to maybe get educated. And for those who are coming back also, for the first time, I can tell you that I know of a particular airline in my airport that has actually given the same benefits to its subcontractors that it does to its own employees. So they get flight benefits and stuff like that. And so it's hard to compete with that. I think for so long, wages have been low while inflation has been going up, and I'm okay with, paying more because, most countries try to be in the free markets. And if you're in a free market and you're complaining about labor costs, you should not be. Why? Because for all these years, you may have been making huge profits without increasing pay to the space, the pace of inflation for employees. So you cannot say that you want free markets and then harp on and then decry the increase in labor costs. It just doesn't work that way. Eventually, it will level off, and all will be back to normal. And I'm sure the cycle will continue again where labor is suppressed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? So yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.